It kind of sent me into like when you look up like normal AMH numbers and it's like PCOS outside of 4, but my testosterone was totally normal.
Yeah, typically the numbers are like 1 to 5 are considered to be completely normal. Above 5 is where we start. And even then, if it was like 5.5 or something, I would be like, I mean, I work with people who have AMH of like 40.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that makes me feel better. Okay.
Yeah, so at
And
least of
my
all the things to stress about, this is not one of them.
Okay, good. One sec. I have a screenshot of my FSH. Um, let's see. I think it was, well, I don't know. Let me see. Oh, here it is. My FSH was 6.4.
Okay, great. Actually, those are perfect. That's just take that and put that over here because we'll have
Okay.
some things that are
Um,
working great and some things that we need to attend to.
the only interesting thing about my AMH was I did modern fertility October 2022, and it was like 2.25. I did it a year later and it had shot up to over 5. They're like, this seems weird. Let's send you another test. And then the second one came back as like right under 5.
Hmm.
So it did like almost more than double in a year, which was strange, but
And what's your age? How young are you?
I'm 31.
And like, did your mom have any like? Did she have early menopause or any like reproductive irregularities?
My mom had fibroids, and she was done with kids by that point, and so she had a hysterectomy when in like her late 30s.
Okay, so I wouldn't be terribly concerned. Like, first of all, we don't know that maybe the first one was the error.
Yeah, true.
Since we got two sort of verified, it's possible. I mean, the higher the number under 5, the better. And
Okay.
so, like in many ways, like maybe you were working on getting healthier. Maybe stop. When did you quit your job? Like, what was the
Um,
like?
in June.
And when did it remind me the time frame? I wasn't paying that much attention to the time frame. When did you do the 2 point whatever?
That was in October of 2022,
Right in the middle
and
of teaching.
I quit my job in June, yeah, and then started this new job in August.
So, if I had
So,
to put money on it in Vegas, my guess is that you got healthier.
yeah, and I have been doing a lot this year to help myself, so
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense then.
Okay. So next, and where do you live in the world?
Los Angeles.
Okay, perfect. It does. It's material because climate does
Yep.
affect our clinical presentations. Okay, so now tell me everything. Does
Um,
everything you tell me at the beginning gets filtered? Because I'll be like, "Huh, how old is she? I wonder what her FSH is. When it just is her job
sure.
affecting this?" Okay,
Yeah. Basically, my husband and I started trying a year ago.
okay,
Um, there was I've been tracking my cycles for like 3 or 4 years.
right.
Um, and so I'm very familiar with my body. There's definitely a few months in the beginning where I'm not sure if I did ovulate or it wasn't very strong because my temperatures didn't go up that high.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but mostly we've had almost every month should have been good
Yeah.
since the past year.
Mm-hmm.
I've had what's it called? HSG done. My uterus and tubes look great. Um, all my blood work has come back except my vitamin D was a little bit low. So
Okay.
I'm on vitamin D supplementation now. Um, my husband's sperm analysis was good.
No low normals.
There was so his what was it? Concentration was like double what the normal was. Motility was also like double the normal. Motility was at 2%, so that was lower. Um, but the doctor didn't seem that worried about that one.
Mm.
I don't
It is the swimming, right? It's the fortitude of like how well they swim. So,
uh-huh.
male fertility is so much easier than female fertility, although it's theirs is getting worse by the day. I mean,
Right.
literally, I think I read a study that predicted that if men's decline in sperm continues by 2040, like literally they won't have sperm anymore. Like it's a very serious problem. Um,
Yeah.
we want to pay attention to it because anytime we have low semen parameters, it is predictive. Oh, I'm having tea too. It is predictive of like earlier onset prostate cancer, more severe prostate cancer, and higher risk for diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So we don't want to ignore any of it. And we want to just optimize, like for whatever reason, y'all aren't getting pregnant. So we should optimize. So when the motility is low, even fractionally, the first thing I think of like, well, what do you need to swim fast? You need energy, right?
Mhm.
So for him, and it's really hard with men because they won't, while their bodies are easy to fix, they're so disconnected from their bodies. Like if you had to guess, like on a 1 to 10, like what do you think his energy is?
Um, I would give him like a 7-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's pretty good about like I mean he's out exercising right now, but he just goes for walks. He'll like walk for like 5 miles. But he's very good about that every day. He stays focused. He's like working all day doing what he needs to. I guess on the weekends he's ready to be lazy, so maybe he's like burning out a little bit too much during the week.
So when he gets back, just have this conversation with him because you won't need me for this. Is like literally like being completely honest without any caffeine. And if you didn't take your walks every day, what would your energy be after like 2 days of no caffeine or exercise? What would your
Mm-hmm.
energy be? And does he have any digestive symptoms like gas or bloating? The power's on. Sorry, that's my daughter. She's home. It's on
That's
down
okay.
here. Maybe the breaker. Yeah, in your bathroom? You probably were doing too many things. Okay, but they might be connected. Guess what? I'm on a consultation right now. Sorry, teenager.
It's okay.
She's 18. She's like, okay. She's like, my Dyson Airwrap. Okay, so let's figure out what his energy
No,
level is.
neither of us drink caffeine, so we're not like, that's never like a
Okay.
thing. But yeah, I'll talk to him about it.
And then the solution, if he is, it's like, how much do you want to nap? Like if you could nap, if nobody would,
Uh-huh.
because men are just like, we get trained to like never feel emotions, right? They're like, if we're not smiling or we're either a baby or a bitch. And men, if they're not working, they're impotent, right? Working,
Mhm.
working, working, right? And so they
Yeah.
ignore fatigue in a really big way often. And they'll just like, it's like they don't, like we don't even give, women don't even give themselves permission to, they feel emotional, but they don't often give themselves permission to express those feelings, their wants, needs, and
Right.
things like that. That internalizes and causes reproductive disorders. Men are just like,
Mhm.
I'm tired, but I don't want to look like a wimp. So have a talk to him and explain to him, like, look, because your motility is a little bit low, this is what she was concerned about, yada, yada, yada. The second
Mhm.
piece is if he is like, if he's below like, a 7 would be to me like solid, maybe once a week you could lay down and rest for a little bit. Any more, need for rest is more like a 6. If there's any digestive symptoms, gas or bloating or sweet cravings, fatigue after meals, then I would put that in the 6 category. He just needs to,
Okay.
you're going to get menu plans. So just feed him what are in your menu plans. That's all just really high quality food. And I would cut back on his walks from 5 miles down to 2 miles, just for a
Okay.
little bit. Just give it's not forever. It's just give him a little chance to rebound, feed him better,
Right.
rebound time, and then check in around stress because that's the other thing
Uh-huh.
is like men can not say that they're stressed. Like we say all day long, I'm so fucking stressed. That's the only
Uh-huh.
appropriate thing we can feel, right? Men cannot say that. And so he may need some stress strategies. We're going to talk about them. So you'll learn them and you can teach him.
Perfect.
That's how
Sounds
easy
good.
male fertility is. Okay. But tell him it's not only for now because he's going to be like, well, the doctor said it was fine. Like it is fine in that there's no pathology. In Western medicine, we're trained to look at something like, is there a disease state here or not?
Mm.
Right?
Right.
A semen analysis looks they took 100 men who have already produced offsprings and they looked at their values And then they found, okay, normal will be the lowest fifth percentile. So between 1 of 100, if somebody is 100% fertile, like the highest numbers, a normal semen analysis represents the lowest fifth percent. It's very low. It's a low bar.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
especially if it's declining below that, then it's problematic. So, even a low normal could be pushing you into like the 1 percentile.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, his quality of sperm and health and your health at the time of conception predicts the health of your offspring. So,
Right.
don't miss, there are many things we will not be able to fix. Don't miss out on just optimizing. You're going to need a couple months anyway. So, be like, we're already going to be working on it. We might as well like do the whole shebang.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
now back to you. So, talking about energy, how's your energy on a 1 to 10, that whole thing?
I would say I'm more in the 6 range.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't really feel the need to like take naps or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have the digestive issues. Um, I mean, I feel like I've pretty much been constipated my whole life, which I've been seeing an acupuncturist for a while, and
Who are you seeing?
her name is Anna Gaye. I don't know how to say her last name honestly, but um, Galle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gaye.
I have a friend who has that same last name, but
Okay.
she lives in Texas.
Um, nice. Yeah, I've been seeing her for a while, and I mean, she's great. I really enjoy our sessions together, but also like I'm starting to get to a point where I'm like, it's been a long time, and so like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but
you
anyways, I guess
you
I
have
went
like
off.
one of the most beauty. You have a super famous reproductive acupuncturist in LA, Mark Sklar.
Huh.
Sklar.
No.
He's one of my old friends, and he's as good or better than me.
SKLAR.
AR.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Um, the truth is, like, is your person a reproductive acupuncturist, like board certified in reproductive acupuncture? Okay, good.
I don't know if she's board certified. She does mostly focus on fertility.
Okay. All right. So it may not be the right person, maybe a time for a chat. You may not need it. Let's at the end of this conversation, I'll give you my 2 cents
Sure.
and you can take it or leave it. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you open the chat bot at the bottom of the page, you'll see if you open it, I'm going to take notes for you and then you can just copy and paste them. A lot of this will be in the report, but I'm going to just reiterate it here. So with your menu plans, you're going to get recipes for kanji. Did your acupuncturist have
Mhm.
you eating kanji every day? Okay, so that's I
I
mean,
did I
hmm?
got the plans from you. I haven't made it yet though,
Okay,
but I
because
bought the rice.
okay, good. Because you have like to me, we're always in Chinese medicine looking for the root cause. There,
Mhm.
sorry, there is no lower root cause than your ability to turn food into energy. If you
Mhm.
can't make energy, you can't make blood, you can't make hormones, you can't have
Mhm.
the energy to regulate it, you don't have energy to be resilient to stress. You start to produce a lot of adrenaline to compensate for fatigue. Then the
Mhm.
adrenaline, sort of torches your eggs. Then you pump out a lot of cortisol to start them calm down, calm down. The problem is cortisol is made from the exact same stuff we need to make progesterone. So the higher the
Right.
cortisol, the lower the progesterone. So that has to be
Mhm.
the starting point, right? So
Mhm.
the fastest way, it is the nugget of everything. And I am a voracious consumer of like information and research. In more than 25 years, there is nothing that improves digestion better. And by digestion, we turn that into energy production than kanji. It's free. It'll
Okay.
cost you, your whole breakfast is going to cost you like $5 a week. I mean, you make it, it's good for the whole week. So follow the
Mhm.
instructions exactly. Don't skip pureeing it. Don't skip the ginger and the cinnamon sticks. And then don't skip using a tablespoon of whatever kind of healthy fat that you want, whether grass fed butter, not organic, but grass fed. There is a material
Mhm.
difference between organic and grass fed. Grass fed means they've
Mhm.
only eaten grass. Like,
Right.
you know, although I did just learn, like, I always eat pasture eggs, and pasture eggs are like so gorgeous. But I just learned that like they don't have to have been in a pasture the whole time. They could have
Oh,
been in a pasture for there's some time and then put in like
right.
the little shitty crates and whatever. So do your homework, buy them from a farm or whatever, your farmer's market. And then so congee, and then as soon as you feel a tiny bit hungry, bone broth. Because what
Okay.
happens is you wake up in the morning, you've been fasting. Like a lot of people with weak digestion, they don't wake up starving. Like, research shows we should start with like 30 grams of protein within the first 90 minutes of waking up. Most people who
Mm-hmm.
have weak digestion, they're like, there's zero chance that I could eat eggs and bacon right now. Like, I just don't have it. You can make your congee.
I do wake up starving, so
Okay,
that's
that's
good.
good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good sign. Just let's experiment with this. And then I would also add the conceivable digestive enzyme and the fiber, because the digestive enzyme, like I have super weak digestion. I don't make very much hydrochloric acid. I formulated this for me and I wanted to sort of double duty. So it's a digestive enzyme and a really good probiotic married. And then, like when you have congee or bone broth, you obviously don't need to have a digestive enzyme. But if you have a bigger lunch, like you say, like have a steak and some broccoli or just anything more complicated to digest, have your digestive enzyme with that. So probably at least one meal a day, you'll take one. And if you forget, it's not a big deal. You will see a difference in like your energy levels pretty quickly, because when you give your body a little bit of support to get nourishment from the food that you're eating and you're eating high quality food, it has a pretty fast effect. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the
I just
fiber,
ordered the digestive enzyme too.
what's that?
I just ordered the digestive enzyme too. I'm taking like a lot of your things, so thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I mean, people like, well, why didn't you just use all the existing brands? And I was like, well, I just didn't. Each one, I was like, I wish it had this, or I wish it didn't have this, or I mean, there's still a lot of products that I want to make, but one of the biggest ones is that, I have a teenage daughter. I'm like, well, I want to build things that I would give her if she was trying to get pregnant, and I didn't
Mhm.
find things like that on the market that I was like that. There's a few, but not together. Okay, so
Right.
energy is meh, not terrible, but okay. What about sleep? Fall asleep, stay asleep, wake up rested?
I'm a great sleeper. I
Oh,
fall asleep quickly. I stay asleep all night long. I wake up feeling good.
okay.
Sleep isn't an issue for me.
Let's put
Yeah.
this on the good category. Um,
Yeah.
so then, how many days between periods?
It's actually been getting kind of shorter the past few months. It was like 28, 29 days, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been more like 26, 27-ish. But I'm also, oh, I forgot to tell you earlier. I was having low progesterone issues, which
Mm-hmm.
makes sense with all the other things. Um, but so I've been on progesterone supplementation during the luteal phase, and that's extended my luteal phase by a few days. It was always like around 12 days, 12 or 13 days, and now it's like 15 days. But I've been ovulating earlier too. Like this month was like day 12 or 13.
Okay, and so is that pharmaceutical or natural progesterone? Like, is your doctor
It
prescribing it or is your acupuncturist prescribing it?
My doctor prescribed it. It's a compounded one, a vaginal suppository.
So, my recommendation is to stop taking that,
Uh-huh.
because
I was kind of feeling
it's what happens is there's nothing wrong with it. It gives the illusion that things are getting better when they're not. In fact,
right,
potentially they're getting a lot worse, and we need to figure that out. But we can't see it,
right.
right? So then it's like, but the luteal phase is getting longer. Yeah, it's only because there's supplemental progesterone going on. And so if we really want to, and something is going on, if your period at your age is getting shorter, I'm glad that I know your AMH and FSH, because I would be more freaked out about that. Like with FSH and AMH of 5, that's not worrisome. If your FSH was like 2, I'd be like, oh no, that's potentially bad news. But I'm not concerned about that. But
Okay.
something is going on. So when your period, so I would stop taking that. Before
Okay.
your period, do you have much PMS, like breast ache,
I
bloating,
used
diaphragm?
to before the progesterone supplementation, I mean, I started that and I was talking to my doctor about it because I had like 3 to 5 days of spotting before every period, breast tenderness. Those were the two biggest things.
Okay.
Those only went away once I started the progesterone. But yeah, I guess it's like a Band-Aid. So
Yeah. So I'm going to add the Brazen PMS formula. A lot of this you'll just have to take for a couple of months. And as your body starts to heal, I want you to start trying to take a half dose. You know what I mean? Like in
okay.
2 months with your digestive enzyme, try eating, something more complicated and seeing like, oh, do I get bloated from it? And start seeing like what you can tolerate, because what we're doing is corrective. So nothing. So you're going to need the PMS formula as you get off the progesterone, because you may start having a lot of PMS symptoms, which we want to, that formula works in order for the liver to work properly, to use and eliminate hormones, you need to be able to do 2 things. You need to be able to make energy, because the liver needs energy to regulate, and you need enough blood.
Right.
So that formula softens the liver a little bit, which is like, I don't know how to explain that in Western medicine, makes blood, helps digestion. But it is wickedly good for PMS. It's really good for stress. So like in my clinic, this is a formula I developed in my clinic. All I did is I would just it was called Unwind. So like my kids take it, my 18-year-old son takes it when he's stressed. He's like, I need some Unwind. And he's like, don't give me the stuff that says PMS on it then, because girls might see it. He lives in a dorm. He's actually 20. So if your husband's like having a really stressful time, you can give it to him for a couple days. It tastes terrible. Don't email me and tell me how bad it tastes. You will be fine. Just put it in
I do have a formula from my acupuncturist.
What is it?
Which also tastes terrible. We're on the 3rd one. It has Vitex, ashwagandha, nettle, and something else.
Okay, you need to stop seeing that acupuncturist.
Okay.
Because Vitex and ashwagandha are not safe in pregnancy. So, yeah. I mean,
thank you for the information.
And ashwagandha should be taken like what ashwagandha is best for. It isn't like too many times we've co-opt things. Ashwagandha is so good if you have like when you were a teacher and it was like the last week of school and everybody was flipping the fuck out and you want to cry every night. This is the week to take ashwagandha. But if you take it all the time, you're not even that stressed, so you don't need it. Vitex has been shown in animal studies to produce birth defects. So that person that you're seeing is not doing her homework.
Right.
Because it's just like there's a prenatal called Au Natural or Conception, and it's called, I think the brand is Au Natural, and their prenatal is called Conception or something, Conception Plus. And on the label it says with ashwagandha and Vitex, and it says Dr. Back, science backed. And I was like, who the fuck looked at this? What science? The science says it like makes deformed rats. So it's okay to put it in there, but then you just need the disclaimer. Like as soon as you have a positive pregnancy test, you should stop taking this, but don't put it in a prenatal for sure. And the problem is Vitex is just like taking supplemental progesterone. It's a Band-Aid. Right. You take Vitex, everything looks better. As soon as you stop, it goes exactly back to where it was, which means it didn't change anything at the foundation. You want to look for the things. So just always, like somebody recommends me even, like hop on Google and just do a little bit of research. And I always just say because people will say like, oh, well, my doctor told me I should take D-chiro-inositol. And I was like, well, don't believe me. Just plug into Google, is D-chiro-inositol good for egg quality? Okay, who cares what your doctor said? Who cares what I say? And if you use the term Google Scholar at the end of any search query, it'll show you the research.
Right. Okay, good to know. Yeah, thank you for that.
That way, anybody who recommends anything, right? Like I think you should do eight, IUIs. Just are 8 IUIs recommended for optimal fertility outcomes? 3.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So then your period comes. We're talking about PMS. I got off on a tangent. Your period comes.
Oh yeah.
And then how many days of bleeding? How long does it take a soak a tampon or pad, etc.?
It's usually 4 to 5 days,
Okay, good.
with the first like 3 days being medium heavy. I don't know, I would probably change a tampon every like 4 to 5 hours.
Great.
And then the last 2 days are always very light. Like by the fifth day, it's just like a liner for the day, and then it's done.
And on day 3 and 4, okay, 1 and 2 are good, but 3 and 4, 5 is a liner. Like if you just left a pad on the whole day, would you even fill a pad in one day?
Um, Day 3, yeah. Day 4 would be pretty light.
I'm taking notes here for you. Um, um, okay, and in the time when your cycle has been getting shorter, have you noticed any correlation to the volume and change of your menstrual blood?
No. Actually, a few months ago, I would say is when it started getting shorter. I was ovulating more like day 15, 16. Um, and so just in the past few months, it's gotten shorter by like a day or two each time.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't noticed any difference in my period. A few months ago, I did have some clotting, which is when I learned about like having a cold womb. And now I've been on a mission to like keep my body warm after ovulation.
Did you ask about this
um,
on a live, the cold womb?
Maybe I did.
Sometimes, like
I
one
like to
time
say
Kelly
it
did
live,
this
yeah.
thing, super Chinese medicine. Okay, but clotting is not always caused by cold in the uterus.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So, like, well, first we'll come to the cold next. So, when your cycle started changing, like, did anything else change? Like a month before that, even 2 months before that, like diet change, exercise change, did y'all move? I know you changed jobs, at the end of the year. Big
Mhm.
stress with your family, anything?
No,
Okay.
not that I
Um,
can think of.
and do you know what formula you were taking previously? Like, what would be great? Call your acupuncturist if you don't mind, and if
Mhm.
you can find out what formula you were taking, like around the time that your cycle started changing.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it started changing when I stopped taking the formula because I ran out for a while, and then we were trying to figure out. I was like, with all the holidays and everything, it was taking a while to get in with my doctor, but she wanted to see if my testosterone was high.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I like finished one of the bottles, and then I just didn't order another one for a while because we were waiting for those blood results to come back. So I just got this other one. The other one before that, though, had Vitex, Yarrow, Nettle, Knotweed, and Cordyceps.
So, I mean, and
We
that,
were like, for
so
a
your
long
cycle was,
time, we were working
how long did you take that formula?
a couple months.
Okay, this acupuncturist is not good.
Okay. Thank you.
Because, like, in Chinese medicine, like, there's a big difference between a supplement and like an
Yeah,
herb, a Chinese herb formula. One, a supplement just like puts in what you don't have enough of, right? But you don't have a
right.
deficiency of cordyceps, or you don't have a deficiency of Vitex. Period was probably
Mhm.
better on the Vitex, and this is probably the real period. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would
Yeah.
return that formula if you haven't started, because I don't recommend, like, again, it's to me, and I'm a dick about acupuncturists because I think they're super lazy. Um, I mean, I had 20 acupuncturists on my team, and I would have to like be on them because I was like, you are not doing your job. Because what should happen is like, okay, we see the whole picture, and
Mhm.
these are the underlying issues. Here's the symptoms that we're trying to get, but here's the underlying issues. Okay, so we're talking
Mhm.
about digestion. So you should be on a formula that strengthens digestion,
Mhm.
right? Lujenzatong or Sijunzaton or Six Gentlemen, that's English word of it. You know what I mean? Like that should be the focus. And
Right.
as digestion gets better, then you see you've peeled back that now, oh, digestion is better, but the blood is still scanty. Okay, now we're going to use half 6 gentlemen and half Siwutong to start building up the blood. Because if your digestion is very weak and you use a lot of blood builders, you'll just blow. It's too hard to digest. It's like eating a T-bone steak 6 times a day, right? It's just too cloying. So you want someone who's like has a goal, understands the underlying problem, and then is following it and then is modifying it. That's how Chinese medicine is different than Western medicine, right? It's the first personalized medicine ever where, whatever. Okay. So, so this is where we are now. Let's just forget about the past. Cycles short and scanty. So I put on your, I'll turn this on. This is all, most of this will be in your report too. Let's add Floridex plus iron. That is not one of our formulas. But if we don't make more blood, like with basically you got 2 days of bleeding, 2.5 days of good bleeding. We need really 4 good days. And so we need to build that up. The fastest way to make blood is Floridex. That's a double dose on there. So don't worry, there's going to be a discrepancy. Keep it in the refrigerator. Don't swig off the bottle. Be careful because it can stain your teeth. So it has a little cup. Just pour it past your teeth. You know what I mean?
Okay, and that's from Brazen.
What?
I get that from Brazen.
No, you can get the PMS formula from Brazen, and you get the Floridex from Amazon.
Oh, okay, got it.
And if you go on Amazon, like there's going to be a bunch of different people reselling it. Just price shop because there's a big variety of prices. There are 2 different sizes, so don't get tricked. Because what I've seen is like sometimes they'll try to trick people and make it look like it's the big size, and then make it like $10 cheaper than the big one, but really getting a small one. Just be careful.
Okay.
Like I would get I wish I owned Floridex because I could probably retire because they've been using that prenatally in Germany for 114 years. Like it's as good as a formula for making blood as ever, and it's all food based. So it's a miracle thing. But I would probably continue taking that until you are done nursing.
Okay.
Because remember, like once you get pregnant, your blood volume, you have to double your blood volume to support your pregnancy. You're only operating at 60% currently. So like me, you might just like have to work extra hard to have like abundant blood. You'll have less problems during your pregnancy if you just make sure to supplement with that. And then in Chinese medicine, breast milk is an extension of blood. So if you have scanty, if you have blood deficiency, then when you get pregnant, it makes it harder to make blood. I mean, it makes, what's it say?
I gotcha.
You got me. Okay, good. Sorry, a notification popped up and that totally distracted me. Okay, so we talked about the volume of blood. You said there's clotting?
There was 1 month. There hasn't been before that, and there hasn't been after that. So I don't know what was happening then.
That could have just been like, whatever, change, whatever. Don't worry about that. And pain. Is there any pain?
The first day, a bit of cramping.
Do you need, do you take anything for it? Or is it like, just like, I feel kind of,
Usually day 1, I will take like a couple Advil in the morning, and then that's it. I'm fine for the rest of the period.
Okay. I think that let's not do anything for that yet. I think if we fix the PMS stuff beforehand, that'll probably get rid of that early cramping. If not, we can address it later with the cramp. So I don't think you're going to need it though. You're taking plenty. Okay. So here's the good news. There are many things already that are already really working in your favor. The 2 things are 2 foundational issues, like in Chinese medicine, qi deficiency and blood deficiency, right? Energy production, blood production. Almost everything else is like really good. What about temperatures? You've been tracking your cycle for 3 years. What are your average temperatures before ovulation and after ovulation?
I use Temp Drop, like a wearable one. So I know that they're a little bit lower than oral temperatures.
Yep.
But my oral temps are usually starting at 98, and then they go up from there.
When's that? Like your waking temperature?
Oh, yeah. And but I haven't been doing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I haven't been doing the oral temps as much. I tried to do it this past month, but the thermometer was broken and being kind of wonky. So
okay.
It's been like a year since I've done oral temps, but I use my temp drop every night.
Okay.
And those ones are like very stable looking, and let's see, like as low as 96.7 and as high as 96.9, like all right in there.
Is that before ovulation?
Before ovulation, yes.
So if you just like look
And
at
then
it and just like draw a line in the middle of it, what's the average?
um 96.8, and that's
Okay.
for the wearable, so I know it's a little bit lower.
Okay. And do you know how much lower that particular one is?
Let's see. This was like, I don't know if you can see this. So this was this month when I was trying to do the red is the oral and this is the
And
wearable.
so how much
Um,
difference? Like if you, it's interesting because it's not even the same, you know? But
right. The pattern is generally,
the green is the
sorry, go
wearable,
ahead.
did you say?
Yes.
Okay, so
And
and
then that has like a clear up pattern.
yeah, so it looks
This one is,
like look at the ones where the green bar graph is. Like just how
yeah.
many tenths of a point is between that? Like what is that where there's those three in the row? Like
Yeah.
what are those?
That one is 96.9.
Okay, and then what is it with oral?
Um, those are way more jumpy. It's as low as
No, just will
97.3.
you compare one like compare like 2 days? Like
Oh, I see. Okay. So let's see. This one is zero point 0.9 and then this one is zero point 0.5. So there's like a 0.6 difference.
okay, so that's a lot actually. So when we think about like your temperatures being like 97, I mean 96.7, that's really like 97.2, which is perfect.
Okay.
So, and then what
Yeah.
about after ovulation? What's your temp drop temperature?
Temp drop temp is as high as 97.6, like at the peak.
Uh-huh. What's the average? Like
Um, let's
again, just a
see.
easy ballpark average.
Yeah. 97.4.
Okay, so if we add 6 to that, we get 98.
Right.
So temperatures are good. I don't think you have a cold uterus. Do you feel cold?
My toes are pretty much always cold. My feet are always cold.
Feet or just
Even if I have
toes?
socks, um, mostly toes, sometimes feet. Like I could have socks and slippers on and my feet will still be cold. My
I'm
toes will still
wearing,
be cold.
it's like 68 degrees today, and I'm wearing Uggs and a heavy sweater, and my feet are cold too. I wear Uggs every day because it's the only way to keep my feet warm.
Yeah.
Mom's like, my kids are like, Mom, fashion statement. I'm like, sorry. So cold, but your whole body isn't cold.
No.
So often, cold in the extremities is not true cold, but constriction. So
Mm.
if you think about like, if you had a hose and you turn the water on, then the water would come out the end.
Mhm.
If you had a hose and you put a kink in it and you turn the water on,
Mhm.
it gets filled up on this side. It creates pressure. That's PMS. And then on the other side, it
Mhm.
creates emptiness.
Oh, yeah.
It can give the illusion of fatigue. It can give the illusion, and especially the cold, the warm cannot get to the extremities. So the
Mhm.
PMS formula is going to be a great experiment for us to see.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
as it won't be done in 1 month, but like 1 or 2 months, we should start seeing the constraint start to loosen up. And at the same time, it probably won't hurt because you have gas and bloating. You know, to not only like make sure you're really hitting it hard with the ginger and cinnamon in your
Mhm.
congee, but now that we're coming to winter, even though y'all don't have much of
Mhm.
a winter comparatively there in LA, I would like I would make a chai, like yourself, like go buy the stuff to make a really strong chai with like dried ginger, cumin, coriander, like all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I drink one of those every day. If you don't feel like doing that, you could just drink a fresh ginger tea in the afternoon or like after your lunch or
Okay.
whatever. It is extremely warming. You could use gingin candies. They actually do have a lot of ginger in them. I'd rather you not have the sugar, but like in a pinch, you could have gingins. They're
Mhm.
so delicious. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have some of those. I actually get seasick really easily, but we have friends who have a boat, and so like I have them on hand just for that.
Does it help?
With the seasick?
Yeah.
Not really.
I'm getting ready to go to Mexico and I get seasick. I even get seasick on my surfboard now sometimes. And
I'm very sensitive to it. Like even if I'm just like snorkeling like on top of the water for a little bit, I have to get out because I'm like, okay, I don't feel good.
that happens to me too. And you don't like, I'm going to take Dramamine because I don't want to risk being out in the ocean and then,
Yeah,
throwing up on my vacation. But
right. You said Mexico?
hmm yeah.
I just got back from Mexico.
Where?
Cabo.
Oh, how was it?
It was beautiful. It was so nice.
Now, in
Which part
Cabo,
are you going to?
I'm going to Cancun because I want warm water.
Okay, yeah.
I want to be able to like
The
my
water
daughter.
in Cabo was still pretty warm. It was nice. I mean, it was a lot nicer than like the water in LA, but the most of the beaches in Cabo are pretty rough. You don't really swim at them. So
Yeah.
I know Cancun is better for that.
My daughter has been really sick with a weird autoimmune condition. And I'm like, I'm just going to take her and put her in the ocean for 5 days. Just like soft, not a lot of waves, just try to
Uh-huh.
just, you know,
Nice.
down regulate her. So I need it too, though.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Okay. Um, Speaking of stress, how would you describe the amount of stress around you, and then how stressed do you feel?
Um, I feel like since changing jobs, I don't really feel much stress at all.
Great, great.
Um, like my house is very calm. Um, now that I don't have the job stress, I don't have like family stress or like house stress. Yeah, I just feel like my life is pretty calm right now.
Okay, okay, good to know. All right, so here's what I see. First of all, nothing serious, right? You're like, I've been trying for a whole year. Why am I still not getting pregnant? I don't see one thing that I would be super concerned about. I see some things that we need to work on, but they're
Mhm.
easy. Like a few
Mhm.
months, it should be much better. Like again, because I always think like it's nothing huge, but it's a few small things. So we need to work on hubby's sperm just to optimize it,
Mhm.
right? Then that's easy. And then we really want to focus on energy production and any energy conservation. So making sure you don't have a lot of stress, making sure that you're sleeping enough because your quality is good, but making sure that you're not skimping on sleep at all.
Mhm.
Making sure that you're just really like focusing on, because digestion is a little bit inefficient, focusing on
Mhm.
like high quality nutrients, but also easy to digest. So, like,
Mhm.
not too much raw food, not too much cold drinks, more hot drinks, more curry, soup, more overcooked vegetables. So, like, I really like salads, especially for lunch, but I can't, I don't have the digestive fortitude for it. So, something I learned on Instagram, which is basically my new university, is I take just a sheet, like I'll go to the farmer's market and I'll buy whatever is local and in season that looks good, like 4 or 5 things,
Mhm.
chop it all up, put it on a sheet pan and put seasoning on it and roast the hell out of it. I mean, really
Mhm.
roast it down. Then put it in a big bowl and put like a can of some kind of bean in it, a chickpea or a black bean or whatever, some kind of nuts that seem like would be go walnuts usually, um,
Mhm.
feta, and then I'll make a dressing with like a crap ton of garlic and fresh herbs and olive oil, and then dress it
Mhm.
with it, and then add fresh herbs on top of it too, just like a few fresh herbs on the top of it. And then that will last in the refrigerator for like 5 days. It just gets better. And you get a whole bunch of vegetables. You could add like a little bit of quinoa, or, if you want, like, sometimes I'll just use like, I'll add like some little bit of whole grain to it too. And then I
Right.
don't, when it gets cold out, I don't eat it cold. So like I'll get it out and let it sit on the counter until it's a little bit, or I'll pop it in the microwave for like 20 seconds. Not warm, but
Uh-huh.
just not fresh out of the refrigerator. It
Right.
has the vibe of a salad without injuring digestion.
Uh-huh.
So
Sounds really good.
you have congee already made for the week, and then you have your salad, and then you eat that, and then, whatever else. because the
Mhm.
thing is that just in our modern society, we don't eat well. Like even when we're trying, it's like it's really hard to get it done. So I'm always like on the lookout of like how to make it easier, how to make it yummy. The other thing that
Mhm.
I just made that I'm crazy for is basically like a high protein muffin. And I
Mhm.
found a recipe for black bean muffins. And I didn't have black beans the second time I made it, so I substituted chickpeas, and they're essentially like brownies. And it's like a can of chickpeas, cocoa powder, eggs, um, baking powder, and then I use monk fruit sweetener because I have a new monk fruit that
Mhm.
like literally tastes like sugar. And then I put it had some protein in it, and then in a cup of grass fed yogurt, and then I added
Mm.
a half a cup of collagen powder with MCT.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and then all you do is you put it in the blender until it, oh, in a cup of half a cup of rolled oats, like whole rolled oats, just a half a cup, that
Mhm.
makes 12. And then just you put it in the blender and then you pour it into the muffin cups and then you drop like a few chocolate chips and then I put a crap ton of walnuts on them. And they're only like, I mean, they're so small. They're like this big by like an inch and a half. And
Yeah.
you're like, this is never going to fill me up. It's like 200 calories, but it has 20 grams of protein. High.
Wow. Nice. Well,
Um,
that sounds pretty good
yeah.
and easy.
So just look up black bean high protein muffin, and you'll see a whole bunch of options. But I actually think they taste better with the chickpeas, and I'm really into chickpeas. So, um, you know, because you don't poop. Okay, so that's the other thing we should talk about before we wrap up is pooping. So um, every day, every other day.
Every other day, usually, sometimes every 2 days,
Hmm.
rarely every day. It's always kind of exciting if it's every day.
Like I pooped. Okay, so the kanji will help with this, but out of 100 people eating kanji, even with like really rough, um, constipation, almost everyone will improve. Like 1 or 2%, it will get worse. So after like
Okay.
3 or 4 days, if for some reason you're pooping even less, then take a break off, re-regulate, send me an email, we'll problem solve. It's
Okay.
probably gonna, because you've had a long history of not pooping, I would still add the fiber for like 2 months until, and then again, once we get like when digestion gets a little bit more robust, we can add more and more fiber. I'm worried if we add a ton more dietary fiber that it's going to actually weaken digestion. And the banana
Okay.
fiber is so easy to tolerate. Like you will not have any bloating, any problem. What about chia pudding? How do you feel? Beauty. Have you ever had it?
Uh, it's been a long time since I've had it, but I mean, like, I put chia seeds in like yogurt and stuff sometimes. So I could do a chia pudding.
Why don't you do like make it, because when you put it in like yogurt, it's just not enough, right? Just like
Yeah.
you don't get a big enough amount of it, and it needs to soak in water to
Mhm.
to get its magic because you don't want it consuming your body's hydration from it. It'll absorb a lot. Like 1 tablespoon will absorb like a cup of water if you let them.
Wow.
And when it does, it releases all that slippery stuff that makes you poop.
Right.
And so what I would do is just go online and find whatever looks yummy to you. Like there's a million recipes, but the
Yeah.
hack is to puree it.
Okay.
So put it in,
After it's absorbed the
no,
liquid?
before.
Okay.
I mean, you can experiment. I always do mine before because it's so thick.
Right.
Like
Yeah, I guess it'd be so jelly if you do it after. Yeah.
what you might do is like let it sit for just. It does like I have an immersion blender and it has like like a jar that's like fits the immersion blender exactly.
Yeah.
And so I do mine in there, and you're not going to get it perfectly blended, but if you blend it enough, it instead of it being like kind of bumpy and whatever, it turns into
Mhm.
mousse.
Mm. Sounds
And
good.
yeah, no, it's so good. And even you can make it with like again, I'll show you. Get down, beauty. I like this. I like sweet. I mean, I just think that most of the sweetener stevia, and that to me, it just tastes artificial, and I don't like it. But this one,
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I just found this one. I don't know where, and this tastes like sugar. Better
Okay, I'll
body.
keep an eye out for that.
It's like erythritol, but mostly monk fruit, and literally, like you cannot taste it. It just
Uh-huh.
and it's a 1-to-1. So, like some things that you can do with the chia pudding is like make a chocolate one and then layer it with like chocolate chia pudding and a little vanilla yogurt and some fruit
Mhm.
and like some
Mhm.
coconut on top or whatever. I mean, there's a million like Pinteresty kind of ideas out of there, but
Right.
that should be super delicious. And you could eat that as your snack in the afternoon. Again, just make a big batch of it so that you have it, especially just
Right.
for like the next like few weeks, so that we can just really communicate to your body like we're going to be pooping every day. All right. So we're going to give you exactly what you need to poop every single day
Right.
because that alone will be transformative.
Mhm.
And this is critically important because the one thing that's guaranteed in pregnancy is constipation.
Mhm.
So if you're already constipated and we don't solve it beforehand, we're going to have an uphill battle. And what constipation in pregnancy 100% guarantees? Fucking hemorrhoids like you've never had before. And I was not constipated. I mean, most people will get a hemorrhoid from pregnancy.
Uh-huh.
My hemorrhoid hurts, and I had natural childbirth at home. So I had a little bit of a mess down there, you know? My hemorrhoid hurt like 50 times worse than my crotch.
Oh no.
Like it really hurt. So
That's
I'm not
terrible.
trying
I
to,
don't want to do that.
exactly, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to inspire you. Like,
Yeah.
let's be glad we have a couple of months probably before you're going to get pregnant so that we can get you
Uh-huh.
pooping and we know what your body needs without a
Right.
supplement to poop on its own. And we figure that out first. That'll be so good because then we can double down on that in pregnancy. Um,
Right.
So, okay, we're almost out of time. I didn't give you many time to ask questions. We can schedule more time to follow up because I chattered too much. What other questions or concerns do you have?
Um, let me see. Actually, digestion was the top of my list, which is great that we covered that. I feel better about that. Um, something else, and I guess that this would fix itself once like other things are fixed, like energy and digestion. But like a question I have is how do I know if my ovulation is like strong enough? Like my charts show a biphasic pattern, but like how do I know that it's actually like I don't know, fully doing what it needs to do?
If you're getting from 97.2 to 98 within like 3 days, it's perfectly fine. If it's
Okay.
taking a long time to get to the 98s, that's usually related to fatigue, and we're going to fix that anyways.
Okay.
I would plan on like 90 days to see like pretty serious changes, but in 90 days, we should see serious changes.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Um oh, I think this would also get fixed with digestion especially, but I did prove.
Yeah.
So I did the prove complete this past cycle where it tests like estrogen, LH, and progesterone. And my I was very estrogen dominant. Um, like it was really high pretty much the entire cycle.
It's because you don't poop.
So right, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. Because
So that
remember,
would
it's like, right, like whatever hormones that you don't use end up in the gut. And if you don't poop them out, you reabsorb them and they really fuck things up.
right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I guess like with the raw, okay. How do you feel about raw carrot salad?
How often are you eating this?
I haven't in a while, but it's like something that comes up as like helping to detox or like pull estrogen out of your body. Raw carrot salad, but it's raw and it's cold and
Just eat
it's
vegetables. Like any
yeah,
vegetables will
yeah.
do that and they don't have to be raw.
Right.
Just
Okay.
fiber. You just need to poop. That's all that needs to happen is pooping.
Right.
If you're not
Okay.
like, you know, I'm gonna have mixed feelings. Like we almost collaborated with Prove, and I in the end I decided that it was a lot of useless information because it doesn't tell people how to fix it, and then it
Right.
just upsets them. It's just like, oh, here's a lot of bad information, and then people are like freaking the fuck out, and then
Mhm.
um, so, um, what I would do is in 2 months of pooping, once you're pooping every day, let's check it again. Either you can just have your
Mhm.
doctor check your estrogen, or you can have Prove do it, whatever, if you want to have an exact correlation, you can have them do it. And then if it's
Mhm.
not coming down fast enough or whatever, you could use DIM.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it yet because I feel like 99% sure that if you poop, it will fix itself because in general, you look really good.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. I've always felt like digestion is probably my biggest
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
thing that I need to get past
Yeah,
or
and
figure out.
don't skip the bone broth
Mhm.
because the bone broth is so healing to your gut.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of collagen in it, and you could add collagen in too, but I wouldn't add anything else right now. But if you
Mhm.
do make those brownies and you have collagen, add the collagen, or you could add protein powder to it. But I'm not kidding you. Like I
Mhm.
just started playing the ukulele, and I need to have my nails really, really short, and I have to cut my nails now that I'm eating those stupid little brownies. I have to cut my nails
Oh,
twice a week now. The collagen is
wow.
just like crap. How do I was like, did I forget to cut my nails this week? This is so weird. I mean, and I'm in my
That's
50s, so usually all that kind of slows down. Um,
uh-huh.
so,
Well,
uh,
that's good.
anything else? Yeah, I mean, I think that what I would expect over the next 2 months is pretty significant, but like not fast, but just you're just layering, right? Everything you're doing each day is a little bit more nutrition, easier to digest, little more pooping, little more fiber, and then it just starts to
Mhm.
like take shape. It really will just start
Mhm.
to take shape. You are welcome to join the live anytime. I mean, I'm there probably 3 or 4 days a week. I'm a little bit lazy lately. And ask any questions. So you can be like, hey, I've been eating my chia pudding and whatever. That's a good time to get in a quick, immediate, free answer from me.
Right.
Lots of people do that. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me what's getting better. You can always
Okay.
schedule a consultation again with me anytime you want.
Mhm.
That's easy to do. And like if there's a deal going on, you can buy it and keep it for whenever you want. I
Mhm.
had like 50 consultations. I have 7 today. So I'm like, after this, like, okay, got to take a break and work a little bit.
Right.
But so there probably won't be any deals coming up too soon, but you're not going to need me for it. You probably don't need anything for 2 months.
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling excited and I'm feeling like motivated. So yes, thank you for all the information.
You're welcome. If you have a second and you don't mind going over like to Conceivable and just writing a few reviews on whatever you're taking, it would literally
Yeah.
mean the world for me. Like we don't do any marketing, so really our reviews are our social proof. So if there's anything useful here, that makes a huge difference for me.
Great. Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, let me know if you need anything else, and I hopefully will talk to you soon.
All right. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, doll. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.